Speaker issue,
Can you hear us now?
not a microphone issue.
Okay. Thomas, you say something. Okay, we can't hear you. So turn off microphone. More options, video settings. There has to be a speaker control here somewhere.
I don't know that it would be on.
Video general, meeting record, audio, microphone, speaker. Test. Nothing. Test. Can you hear us now? Thomas, talk.
Can you hear me now, Corey?
There we go.
Okay, Thomas, we can hear you. Melissa, can you hear us?
Oh, we can have a like an unofficial, I suppose.
Thomas could hear us.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I could hear Cody. And Melissa's nodding yes.
Yep.
And yes, we got a yes.
And Lloyd is here.
Okay, James, I think we got it, buddy.
If we had to,
James?
that might be better than,
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear.
Yeah, we got you.
Okay.
because then we'd have your feedback.
Okay.
Can you still hear us?
I think we're here.
Okay.
Could you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, we're good to go.
Can you mute Lloyd?
We muted him a long time ago. Okay, now, thank you, public. My apology. We, the guy that was on the phone, James Red, he's been with us for about 6 months. He's our new IT guy. He has found so many holes in our system. I don't know who's 100% in here, but we've been getting spoof emails. We've been being AI'd, and people have been getting right there. The cooks are like, "Yep, we've been there. Thanks for not paying the $6,000. We really appreciate that." But I was hacked yesterday. The hacking right now on government websites is extreme. So we really appreciate the staff. We really appreciate James. He's doing everything he can with what we have. So again, I appreciate it. We're going to turn the meeting over to the chair.
Okay, let's begin our San Juan County Planning Commission meeting of July the 9th, 2026 to order. Welcome everybody. Sorry for the delay, but we're rolling now.
That one's on. Oh, you know what? I don't.
Commissioners
that's
in
okay now.
attendance:
Thank you.
TC Garcia, Melissa Rigg, Cody Nelson, and Lloyd Wilson. Shay Walker, Trent Schaefer, staff, Jens Nelson, Cody Coleman, and Tamara Lewis. Before we go to the Pledge of Allegiance, I would like to ask anybody that is interested in giving an invocation and ask God that He protects our communities and sends us some moisture. If anybody would be interested in doing that. Pete.
Our Father in heaven, we bow our heads before the commencement of this meeting, and we express our gratitude to Thee for the blessings that we have in this country, for the freedoms that we enjoy, and for the weekend that we've just passed in celebration of our Constitution and those things that make us free. We're grateful for the land we live in, Father, and we pray for Thy help in extinguishing the fires and bringing moisture to our land that we're so badly in need of. Help us to remember Thee at all times, to be worthy of the blessings that we receive. Be with us tonight as we meet together here. for these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thanks,
Amen.
Pete. Jay, you want to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Absolutely. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Does any of the commission have a conflict of interest on anything that is on the agenda tonight?
No conflict for me.
Okay. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, we'll move into the public comment period. I know some of you are probably here for these lot amendments or these subdivision amendments. We will take public comment 4 times for those individual items. So if you're here to talk about the what's number 2?
So number 2 is just going to kind of be an overview.
Okay.
Like, it's just going to kind of show what state law is, what county
Okay.
law is, and the reason
All right.
we're bringing it to the commission.
Okay. So if anybody's got comments on 3, 4, 5, or 6, I would hold those until we get to those, and then we'll give you the time to speak at that point. So, that being said, anybody have public comment for anything other than those public hearings? So come up, state your name. Okay.
We just set a timer, please.
My name is Jeff Clausen. I live in Old LaSalle, and there's just a few things I'd like to say. As a former planner, senior planner and engineer, I'd like to say that I believe in coding, code enforcement, and planning. I commend you for your efforts on updating the zoning and planning for the county. I know you won't make everybody happy. It's a tough job, but I commend you for working towards that goal of finalizing one. It may not be perfect, as I have dear experience with that, but it's a step forward in the right direction. And that codes are for everybody, not just a few individuals. It applies to all of us. One thing I'd like to say also, you know, a covenant is a legal promise. So in tonight's or any other time when we say the word covenant, and my wife's the English major, it's a legal promise. Also, I have a question. What does a campground consist of? We were told by the former planner, Kristen, that anything over 2 campers for a length of time, I don't know what it was, constitutes a campground. So I put it to the commission, could we have some clarification on that, on what is a campground? That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Marjorie?
Thanks, Chair and Commission, for this opportunity. Marjorie Hahn Storland, Old LaSalle. And I have a voice disorder. I apologize. But the things that I'm addressing today in Chapter 2 specifically, which I know have been taken off the agenda, and I do appreciate that because there are a lot of people in the county who are kind of watching their property and would love to be here if they could. So I do appreciate that. None of the provisions that I'm going to be talking about are required by state law. These are all things that you have a good deal of latitude. In particular, the lack of exemption for agricultural buildings is not not just it's kind of opposed to state law, if not in the letter, at least in the spirit of the law. Utah state law encourages exemptions for agricultural buildings which do not have the electricity or plumbing, those things which are considered temporary or agricultural shelters. The other issue with these provisions is they are very expensive. And if you were to go forward, you in some ways would price ordinary people like me out of improving purchasing or building on land, but you would leave room for developers who have deep pockets. So I just want to give you some examples. So the mandate that you have to have a site plan review or approval from the county actually is quite expensive. A site plan can start from anywhere around $1,000, but go up to many $1,000s. This has never been required out in the county for a build. You get your permits for your electrified and plumbed buildings. You get your COs. But the site plan is kind of new, and that's something that involves a lot of additional expense. It's also a little harsh to think that you cannot hook up your electricity until that is approved. So I would ask you to look at that. Also, the mandates of mandatory surveys. If there's a question about a boundary line or something, when we had our property that we sold, we had property up in Spring Draw in Old LaSalle. There was a little bit of a boundary. It wasn't a dispute, but something that our neighbor brought to our attention. And the fence was about 4 feet off. Just real quick, he went to the expense to move the fence, and we agreed. And it was peaceful. He did the right thing. It cost us nothing. So I'd ask you to look at those provisions, and I would love to stay, but I have really hungry horses who are getting a late dinner. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Marjorie. Marjorie, isn't it kind of ironic? A year ago, the fire was in the
Ironic is a good word. I think we're all still a little traumatized by that. And I've actually been here all day with a friend moving valuables to us. One is feeling that emotion. So I really appreciate you. Thanks.
Grab a water on the way out for your voice.
Yes, thank
Public,
you.
there is water there, and we will grab more if we need to.
Okay, more public hearing, or public comment, excuse me. John, did you have something? No? Okay.
Not enough time.
You get 3 minutes. Any other public comment? Since we have none online, other than commissioners, we'll close that and move to the minutes from June the 4th, 2026. Anybody have any comments, corrections, additions? School teacher?
Yeah, what does
Melissa.
Melissa have to say?
So not a school teacher. And the only thing I wondered about, Trent, is your name spelled right?
I thought we went over that numerous times.
Trent Schaefer.
Yes,
But with or without a C?
with.
He's my neighbor. I better know how to spell it.
Well, I saw Corey put Tamara again.
It won't be the last time.
I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of June 4th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll second.
Okay. Shay made a motion and Melissa seconded to approve the minutes as presented. All those in favor say aye.
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 Perfect. Thank you. Okay. Number 2, is that on you or Jen?
That's on me, and Jen is going to fill in where I'm wrong.
Perfect.
Or we're going to put on Jen's, and I'm just going to nod.
So
on
what
hers.
you're saying is it's all on Jen's.
We'll team do it. Team it up.
So tonight, I appreciate the public here. I really do. If you're not here for the amendments, if you're here for another reason, Tamara and I's door is open all the time. I'll give out my cell phone. Just like Margie Hans, I want the public in our office to talk about stuff. If you don't agree with something, come in and tell us what you want and give us a reason why. So going into this is just looking out over the group of public. You could just imagine Tamara and I have hundreds and hundreds of hours trying to figure out our codes. We have a 2011 code. We have a 2019 Spanish Valley code. We have some amendments in between. That's what we're working on right now. So and I'm just going to read this word for word going through, but basically this is kind of what we were up against, and this is the reason that we didn't make administrative decisions, is because we wanted to be transparent. We wanted it out in the open. We wanted it to be heard and then go from there. So the next 4 agenda items have been moved to the beginning of the meeting in consideration of applicant schedules and to provide them the opportunity to be heard earlier. My apology for audio. The application before the Planning Commission involves subdivision amendments, including proposed lot splits and subdivision vacations. During staff review, questions arose during the interpretation of Utah law and San Juan County subdivision ordinance as they apply to amendments that create additional lots or modify existing subdivisions. Utah law requires the land use authority to notify affected service providers and property owners within the area proposed to be amended and provide at least 10-day calendar days from written objections. That ended on the 7th of July. For these 4 applications, the county mailed the required notices on June 26th with a comment deadline July 7th. Because the agenda packet was published on July 2nd, 2026, additional comments may be received before the meeting. Staff will provide any updates before each application is considered. We have received stuff as late as 5:45 today, so that will be highlighted also, as we will show that. Because the planning commissioners have not seen that, we'll probably look at it word for word, just in all fairness, because they're not on the public record, just to get it on public record. The San Juan County subdivision ordinance also requires amendment plats to include signature blocks for affected property owners and proof that notice was provided to affected property owners, adjoining property owners, and the subdivision owners association if applicable. Staff has identified a need for additional policy direction regarding subdivision amendments that create additional buildable lots, subdivision vacations, and the distinction between subdivision amendments and lot splits. Until additional ordinance language or policy is adopted, staff requests Planning Commission guidance and recommends those applications be reviewed on a case-by-case basis. This discussion applies only to subdivision amendments involving the creation of additional buildable lots, subdivision vacations, or similar modifications requiring Planning Commission review. Lot line or boundary line adjustments that do not create additional buildable lots and comply with county ordinances will continue to be processed administratively through the Planning and Building Department. The first section here is 1779-711. This is Utah state law, and just kind of summarizing that the Land Use Authority shall provide notice of petition filed under subsection 1A by mail or email. That was a letter that you received from the county. And what we did was we went to each property owner of record within the portion of the subdivision that is proposed to be amended. The notice described in subsection 1C shall include a deadline, and we gave them 10 days. Our county code, section 11, amendments and vacations, goes in, tells how the subdivision is supposed to be, how the plat's supposed to be recorded, and then the amendment shall include signature blocks for each property owner within the plat. The application petition shall also include proof of written notice to the owners of records of lots within the plat affected by the plat revision, adjoining owners, and if the subdivision includes one, the owners association. So we kind of, with a little bit of confusion, we did all. We had the applicants notify their neighbors and the community. We notified them, and we also put it on public notice website. Reason behind that is transparency, as we're just trying to find a common ground with tonight's meeting. High stakes for the planning commission. With tonight's meeting, staff's going to be able to start incorporating that into ordinance and law of exactly kind of which way we go. That's all I have, unless I forgot something.
I think you covered it.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead, Melissa.
Okay, so when I look at the proposed law, it says that if all of the owners within the portion of the subdivision proposed to be amended have not signed the proposed amended plat, we have to hold a public hearing.
Right. Item D, the land use authority shall hold a public hearing within 45 days. Any property within subdivision that is proposed to be amended notifies.
Or D2.
D2, a county ordinance requires a public hearing if all of the owners within the portion of the subdivision proposed to be amended have not signed the proposed amendment. Thank you, Melissa.
So we've got several people who haven't signed, and several people who haven't given consent. So I think we can talk about it, but my impression is we have to hold a public hearing.
So this is state law. The 2025 subdivision down here is a little bit different, and that's going to be one thing that we're going to start merging. And I agree with you, and that's why we're here this evening, is
Okay.
to have that where we couldn't get. We have one applicant that has got 100% of the signatures, from what we could tell. And with that said, we were going to do it administratively, but we felt in full transparency where we're doing it for the three other applicants, we put him in the same group, and we'll see that in the packet. But it's kind of, in all honesty, it's been a very humbling and quite the process as we look at it, and we look at property rights, and we look at subdivisions, and we look at what people have, and these particular projects aren't in question, but Tamara and I get 7 complaints a week on another subdivision in Spanish Valley where there's a lot of Airbnbs, where there's no parking, where the noise is up at 10 o'clock at night. And that's the type of stuff where the road gets washed out. And that's the type of stuff that we're trying to address. So thank you, Melissa.
I thought state law trumped county law.
It does. Jen said yes.
Yes.
So we're going to fix this.
Okay.
And I don't even know if it's necessarily fix or more just clarify. Is that fair?
Yeah.
So I've got a quick question then about the exact paragraph that Melissa just brought up. Says the owners within the portion of the subdivision proposed to be amended. Well, who defines the portion? Is it the direct adjoining lots? Is it within a quarter mile? What's that definition of portion?
And Jen just taking this one.
So we talked about that very point when this all came up. When you read that, you can interpret it to say, okay, we have 2 lots that are being amended here. Only those 2 lots are affected. None of the others are, so therefore only they are the only 2 that are involved. You could look at it that way. Our county code is a little broader. If the amendment affects the other lots in some way, then their approval or their notice of a hearing would be applicable as well. So it's a little bit, it's subject to some interpretation. It's a little bit flexible. And one of the reasons we're doing it this way is we kind of want to know what the commission feels about this. We could take the position that we're going to include as much as possible only the lots involved and nobody outside of that. Or we could take the position that as a commission, you'd rather over include than under. And you could say, look, we're just going to have a hearing on this so that we don't miss anything. And, So this is a test, kind of a test run that we're doing here right now. And we're just trying to make sure we cover what has to be covered and also kind of get a feel for the commission's view on how broad you want to go. Because you do have quite a bit of discretion in these types of decisions.
Well, I just would throw one comment in. It was a comment that one of the respondents made about how the entire subdivision is affected, because if someone pulls out, that means the expenses are borne by fewer people. And so, just my immediate take on it is it includes the entire subdivision.
Correct.
Chair, can I add?
Any other comments? Go for it.
I think that was the end. Years and years ago, Scott and Walter both read the law as you had to have a majority sign off on it within the subdivision, whether it was 5 lots or 20 lots. You had to have a majority sign off on it. Otherwise, it had to be a public hearing. And that's how I thought we followed that law since, for the last 10 years. That was their understanding of the law.
So you're saying if you had 2 lots affected and both of those were involved, and then a majority of the entire subdivision, if a majority approved, then you wouldn't need a public hearing, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It was either or. It was either you had a majority of the landowners within the subdivision, or if you couldn't make way with your neighbors, you had to have a public hearing.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing wrong with that protocol, I don't think, because unless it's a really clear situation where everyone has to sign, for example, if you amend the whole plat and you're changing some aspect of it, like maybe the open space or some trail related thing, and everybody has to sign off, then they always have to sign off on that. But if
Right.
you're amending two lots and it doesn't really affect anyone else and you get a majority, then you as a commission can take the position that, we really don't need anything further, more than this. We don't need a public hearing, so we're not going to have one. But if you had a subdivision where you had some high cost maintenance on roads, if we had 20 feet of snow every winter and there was a lot of road cost, you might decide, hey, if someone's going to vacate out or amend or whatever, we've got to account for that, Anyway, so I don't know if that helps or not, but what you propose could be a general protocol for the commission, I think.
Well, I think the state code is pretty clear. If all people didn't sign it, then we still have to have a public hearing. So we've got one subdivision amendment that has got all the signatures. We've got 3 that don't.
Correct. That, from the best I can tell, yes.
Okay, so we might as well just do 4 public hearings
Preferably, yes.
if everybody's okay with that.
I don't, I guess the person who's got all the signatures, I don't know why we need a public hearing for his.
I agree with that one.
Okay.
I concur.
Okay.
Good call.
All right. Cody, I thought you'd stick up for me.
We can still have 3 public hearings.
No.
So should we just take off with number 3 and I'll just explain? We'll just get a thumbs up or thumbs down.
Yep.
Okay.
So you have to,
Oh, we got to,
procedurally, you got to go into a
right. So I need a motion to go into a public hearing.
You have to advertise a public hearing.
We did 10 days ago.
You advertised a public hearing or you asked for feedback?
No, we actually published it on Utah's publication.
Okay.
It's been properly noticed. We
Okay.
should be good that way.
But thank you. So we've kind of all of the above. We asked for feedback and did a publication at the same time.
All right. Well, I guess I'll make a motion to move to
Move.
public hearing.
Okay. Shay made a
Second.
motion to go into a public hearing regarding Turkey Trot Estate subdivision lot 3.
I'll second it.
And Melissa seconded it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Public hearing. We are now in for this first Turkey Trot Estate subdivision.
So probably they need to be educated that this is where they can speak, and then at a certain point we say, okay, public hearing's over, then you guys decide what to do.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
speak now or forever hold.
So is any of the public here to talk about Turkey Trot Estate subdivision lot 3? Okay.
Chair, can I add that this is a one that we do have the signatures on?
Okay.
And I can put that in the staff report if you want me to.
I think we're good to go.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing for Turkey Trot Estate subdivision lot 3.
I'll move to close.
Got a motion?
I'll second.
And Cody seconded.
Who opened? Who was the second on open?
Melissa.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Let's go through this staff report on this one.
For number 3. Okay, so just for clarification for me, we're going to do public hearing, and then we'll do staff report, correct?
Yeah.
On each item. Okay, thank you. Okay, staff report on number 3. Okay, so this one is Turkey Trot Estate Lot 3, serial number, permit number. We're trying to get a little bit more detail in our records, so 5 years later people could find it. We gave 2 different options for motions. Obviously, the planning commission could modify those however they want. Property owner Stephen Thurlow has worked with the planning and building department for several months on a proposal to create an additional buildable lot within an existing recorded subdivision. During staff's review, questions arose regarding the interpretation and application of Utah law and the San Juan County subdivision ordinance as they relate to subdivision amendments and create new lots. The subject property is located within the Spanish Valley Residential Zoning District, where the construction of a single-family dwelling is a permitted use. The proposed subdivision would divide the existing parcel into 2 legal lots, each intended to comply with applicable zoning, subdivision, access, and development standards. Staff also recognizes that property owners who purchase within a recorded subdivision may have certain rights and expectations associated with approved subdivision plat. As a result, staff requests that the applicant obtain signatures from all property owners within the subdivision. The applicant obtain signatures from every property owner except the owner of lot 7, who was also notified by the county in accordance with applicable notice requirements. Staff notes that the submitted signatures may satisfy the intent of section A13 of the subdivision ordinance, which requires signature blocks for each property owner within the effective plat. Given the need for additional policy direction regarding subdivision amendments that create new buildable lots within existing subdivision, staff is forwarding this application to the planning commission for review and recommendation. What it is, let's see if I can pull up maybe. So a lot of the public's probably not aware of this. This is a new feature that's came online in about the last 90 days, and it's getting added to daily. But we're not the only county in Utah that does not have GIS anymore. We have finally had a commission support us, and a employee down in the surveying office that's taken it on, and he started creating GIS for us. So with that said, this property is
It's down. Go down.
South, yeah.
quite too far.
It's Shay's next door
Right.
neighbor.
Rio Grande. Is that right?
Yep, I believe it's this lot right here. So this is the lot that's in question. What he has did is and we'll probably I want to spend a little bit more time on this one, even though we've got everybody. I want to spend a little bit more time because we do have another one in the same subdivision that's proposing to do something very similar. Road comes in here. The one concern that we have, and this will be something that will be administered by staff, is there is some questions on flooding down through here coming from some of these other lots that are down here. So that will be one thing that we work through the process if it moves forward. But other than that, he has the frontage that's required. He's under 250 feet. He's over a quarter acre, and he these are all the signatures. He did a really good job going out lot 1A, lot 1B, going through, and then with this packet, we did the same thing to all of them as we already signed, so we kind of got in trouble for doing. We already got some people saying, "Hey, why did you do this twice?" Notice of proposed subdivision, turkey trot, Stephen Thurlow, tax ID number, yes, I consent, signature. So this is on top of what he's did here. These were the responses we got back. Melissa, you asked about late material on this. Where the late material is going to be found on these is going to be found on the last pages. So this was late material. You would have never been able to review this one. Most likely because it probably came in today. So other than that one's pretty straightforward on it. If there's any questions for staff, we'll take a stab at it.
I think this one's pretty straightforward. Commissioners, got any comments?
No.
Okay, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion
to approve the amendment to the subdivision on Turkey Trot Estates Lot 3 as requested.
Will you second that?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Okay. Okay, Shay made a motion, Melissa made a second to approve the amendment to Turkey Trot Estates Subdivision Lot 3, permit 26094. Any further discussion?
Is this a recommendation or approval?
It's a recommendation to the county commission.
Okay.
I was thinking it didn't need to, but they recommended I don't know why that's fuzzy in my head right now.
We've always just did a recommendation. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Any opposed? And I saw everybody voted affirmative.
Can I break in for 1 second?
Yeah.
I never did see the agenda. My eyes aren't good enough to read it up. Is there anything on the agenda other than these approvals?
No, sir. But it's date night for you guys.
This is a great day.
Corey, I have a request. When you're reading stuff or talking about it, we can't see it. So can you just give us the page number so we can find it in our packet?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, or 4. You guys stay safe out there.
Thank you. Sorry.
Hey, see ya. Have a good night. Okay. I'll entertain a motion to go into a public hearing for Turkey Trot Estates subdivision lot 12 permit 26097.
I'll make that motion.
Motion.
Oh, there you go. Somebody else can take that one.
That was Lloyd.
Shay and Lloyd, did you second?
Yeah, I'll second it. Yep.
Okay. Got a motion from Shay and a second by Lloyd to go into a public hearing for Turkey Trot Estate subdivision lot 12. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, we're into a public hearing for Turkey Trot Estate subdivision lot 12. Is anybody here to speak on behalf of that? Oh. Are you guys the applicant? Oh, okay. Okay. Seeing no public comment, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Okay. Melissa?
I'll second.
Shay made a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Staff?
Okay, page 28, Melissa, 28 of 121.
Thank you.
We do have the applicants here. I appreciate you guys coming. I appreciate Morgan keeping on top of us. This one is a very unique one. This one comes off of, to kind of give a little bit of background, this one is in the same subdivision, but it's a different zone. It's highway commercial in this one. And it does come off of a UDOT right away and not a county road. So property owners Morgan and Coy Cook have worked with the planning and building department for several months on a proposal to create an additional buildable lot within an existing recorded subdivision. For staff's review, questions arose regarding the interpretation and application of Utah's laws in San Juan County subdivision ordinance as they relate to the subdivision amended that create new lots. The subject property owner is located within the highway commercial zoning district, while the construction of a single family dwelling does not appear to be permitted use within the highway HC district. The property is located within the overnight accommodation overlay, where overnight rentals uses may be permitted subject to applicable county regulations. The proposed subdivision would divide the existing parcel into 2 legal lots intended to comply with applicable subdivision access and development requirements. Staff also recognizes that the property owner within a recorded subdivision may have certain rights and expectations associated with the approved subdivision plat. Accordingly, staff requests that the applicants obtain signatures from property owners within the subdivision. The applicants have obtained several of the required signatures, however, not all property owners within the subdivision have signed the petition. Given the need for additional policy direction regarding subdivision amendments that create new buildable lots within the existing subdivision, staff is forwarding this application to the Planning Commission for review and recommendation. So this is the plat that they have. Right now, they currently own this property right here. An initial review for area square footage as it meets, for frontage square footage it meets. The one item that's late coming, and my apology, Morgan, for not getting this to you, but I'm sure you probably know about this, is if this is something that is approved tonight, there is language in our ordinance, in the Spanish Valley ordinance. Melissa, you do not have this, my apology. It's just a 2011 Spanish Valley ordinance, and it's page 37 of that document. They go, the highway access permit must be approved by the Utah Department of Transportation for each new property. I believe Morgan has been working with UDOT on this. From my understanding, I've talked to the UDOT rep, the manager in the area, and he's brought that some of the items that I just need clarification on this, as ironic as it is, the Spanish Valley ordinance, I highlighted some areas in it. Spanish Valley Highway Commercial, staff just needs direction. Is if we make a new lot, what are the criteria? It is a commercial zone. I think statistically we've allowed residents to go in commercial zones, whether they're overnight accommodations, that type of thing, something that just needs to be addressed. And then no buildings used for commercial or industrial purposes shall be erected within 50 feet of an existing residential building or residential district boundary. It would probably, I know we're done with public comment, but it would probably be good to ask the applicant.
Since they're the applicants, they can
Yeah.
speak.
Yeah, if they could speak to some of the stuff to kind of help us clarify whether they're doing long-term rental or short-term rental. Corey's like, I'm not getting up there. He's like, I've already been up
Morgan's
there.
got it. Real quick, Corey.
Yeah.
If you would, Morgan. On the UDOT permission thing that you just read.
Uh-huh.
Is that the one you just read?
No.
No, that's a different one.
It's the same thing.
Oh,
Oh, wait, no.
It's not
No,
the same
That's
thing.
not the same thing. You're right.
You said page 37, didn't you?
You said they needed UDOT permission for any new lots, but it says or subdivision. So if the subdivision itself has permission and they're staying within that subdivision, does that still require?
So this is
UDOT permission?
this is what the UDOT manager told me specifically. They have a threshold of how many cars could go on that onto UDOT road.
Okay.
Before they require traffic engineering studies and that type of stuff. So, and Morgan might know more about this because I think we did hear from Morgan one time that it was like 7.
It's, so what they told me, this was 3 years ago when we did our overnight accommodations. Do you need me to talk about that?
Yes.
Yeah.
If you'll state your name for the record.
Okay, Morgan Cook, 33 Miriam Court in Spanish Valley.
you guys came to us. before.
Yes,
Okay.
and you're like, why are you here? We're here again. So when we first did our overnight accommodations overlay application, I was in contact with UDOT a lot back then, and they said since there's no turnout from the highway, they allow 7 units in our subdivision. So right now there's 5 houses, and we have split ours into an up and down. So I believe they would count that as 6. So there would be room for one more dwelling in our subdivision, according to their 7 rule.
Is that houses or lots as well? Like
So they said dwellings.
Oh,
So because we were talking, I mean, we were just throwing out ideas at that point. So we were like, could we like put some trailer hookups? And they said that would also count. Like if it was like illegal, like if you were to do a trailer park with 10, that would be 10, and you can't do that. So it was like every house was.
So Shay, the way that I understood it when I talked, it's very similar. It's per door, but not only is it per door, it's also per traffic count. So as an example, 7 single-family residents is going to equal X cars going in and out.
right.
When you start doing the overnight accommodations, there's going to be a number saying whatever this case is. When I talk to, and you probably have the number, but I'll get it to you. When I talked to the UDOT rep, he was extremely appreciative the county's reaching out to him. And other than just kind of talking with the applicant, if it's approved, and just making sure that we're kind of within that guideline, he did not seem to have a lot of concerns. There might be, if it's something that is approved tonight, and we move forward through the review process, the cooks may need to do certain things as per UDOT, but where we're going from 6 to 7, it kind of seems it's within the realm of.
Okay.
The other thing that I had on this one is, so that was the section you're looking at right there. No, I still can't find it.
No.
Apology. I thought I had it there.
No.
Jen's is whispering, page 37. He has
He
it
knows
down.
that. Yeah, he remembers.
Thank you.
Isn't that it?
The highway
Yeah, you're-
access must be approved.
Yeah.
So that
So
would just
yeah,
be
your
part of the review
highlight
process.
just ended mid-sentence. So
Yeah, yep. The thing that's kind of interesting about this is the lot size, width, depth, shape, and orientation. The minimum building setback line shall be appropriate for the location. that's kind of up to the planning commission to kind of say what it is. What I would recommend is that whether you go, it's going to be something that you guys get to talk about tonight, whether it's commercial use or residential use. But when you look at what I think it's important for Morgan to kind of tell us what she wants to do. But when you look at what they do, I think we probably need to go back to, if it's a residence. Not computer issues. Okay. If it's a residence, it's probably some things that we need to look at and say 25 feet, they have that. They're not in a cul-de-sac. Where the highway commercial does not give setbacks from property lines, we do have one comment in here that I could show you that the next door neighbor, I don't know the relation.
Oh yeah, he came and talked to me. He just wants to make sure we don't block his hot tub view.
Oh, yeah.
We won't.
That's important.
It's like the back corner where the setbacks would come too close. We couldn't. That would be like the backyard.
Oh.
So I think that would just be noted, and as part of the conditions, if it was approved, it would be front yard, side yard, and I think we would go back. The best governing document that we have is where single families permitted and that type of stuff. So I jump back to the application. Melissa, I'm going to go to page 28, I think. That's the property right there, is on page 28. Morgan went out and did a consent demand, got several signatures, missed a couple of them.
Yeah, there were a few rentals that the tenants were like, "Yeah, we'll take it," and then they wouldn't give us landlord phone numbers or anything. So we're just like, "Okay, don't know what to do about that."
I know this guy. If you want a cell phone number, I'll give this guy. So this is just transparency. Everybody she went to, whether they signed or didn't sign. The one comment, Melissa, this is late material. This came in, I believe, today. And this is the one that Morgan Cook has talked to. Is Stephen Burr, for the record. I'm going to read it because I don't think it's in your packet, page 64. Regarding the proposed subdivision amendment put forth by Coy B. Cook to subdivide the existing parcel lot 12 and phase 2 into two separate lots of 12A and 12B as owner of adjacent lot 11, I do consent to the proposed amendment. However, I need to point out that there is an existing protective covenant Turkey Trot. I am assuming this covenant is still in effect, as it was signed by Richard and Charles McElhaney. General provisions, these covenants are to run with the land for 20 years. I'm kind of summarizing it. Shall be binding on all property owners for 20 years, and then it extends for 10 more years. Therefore, the initial 10-year period had passed. We're now automatically extended for another 10 years. Under protective orders, Part B, Lot 4, it states no lot shall be less than 1 acre. However, it also states an instrument signed by 3/4 majority of the owners can agree to change that covenant. This might be a legal question more so, as where the covenants say 1 acre, but we've got 90%, 100% of people approving it. I think it probably kind of meets that. I don't know, that's something. My main concern is setback line, so that's one thing that I do appreciate the Cooks and Burrs working out, and that is everything else on this application came in with yes, I consent. We haven't had any more correspondence other than that. So with that said, what I need, an up or down on a lot and an up and down on what she's allowed to, or what they're allowed to build.
So is this the same subdivision as the Rio Grande?
Yes, it's I think initially it was supposed to connect somehow, but the creek crosses through it. So it's like our property and then our neighbor Steve's and then the creek and then the Pendleton's property.
So you guys had to go get signatures
Yeah.
from Rio Grande.
Yeah. They're like, why are you here?
Not really
I'm like,
an
because I was
association.
told to.
Yeah. So I guess.
Hey, Trent, can I jump in?
Sure.
Is Jance available?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so my understanding after I did some research on with some legal advice on this is when the turkey trot, is that phase 1 or phase 2?
We are phase 2, I believe.
2.
What did
So when
think so.
it was approved by the commission or recommended by the Planning and Zoning Commission and approved by our commissioners, at the time of approval, that changes the zoning for that section of land, because you approved a residential zoning within a commercial zone. When your commissioners do that, that actually changes the zoning for that little section of land. So it's almost like a spot zone change. So now you have these 5 or 6 lots in the commercial zone, and also at the time the ones at the end of Rio Grande were all within that 1,000-foot corridor. Well, when these were approved by the commission, that changed the zone to a residential zone for those, and those lots within that residential zone have to comply to residential zoning. And gents, you can correct me anytime you want. This is the legal representation that I got on this one, is because it was approved by the commission as a residential zoning for residential living, that made it a residential zone.
I would say it this way. When you do a zone change, you have a process outlined legally that you follow. Here, I don't know that we have the record of exactly what this decision was based on, but I would say that in effect for that parcel, that the county would be, prevented from going back and saying, we approved this for you, even if we did it in error. It's been in place all this time. We're now here to tell you that you're out of compliance and you got to, this or that, or tear down or something. So I would say it more that way than to say there was an actual zone change, especially applicable to the other lots. We may need to look at that a little further, but yeah, I
think we need to, because you could, I remember them coming in last time when Mac was still there. And it was, they cannot do residential there. So it has to be a nightly rental, and they have to apply for the overlay, so on and so forth. And it's like, and the more I've researched this, the more it's where, so you're taking homes that were approved by the commission to be a conforming use as residential housing, and now we're saying that all of these are a non-conforming use in the commercial corridor. It was approved as a residential subdivision. So, and by that standings in court, I think would fall to the fact that as the commission has approved it as a residential subdivision, it created a zone change in itself.
I think I misunderstood your question at first. So the entire subdivision being a residential approval, that's what you're saying?
Yes. Yep. Both phases of the turkey trot were approved as residential subdivisions.
But it's within the commercial zone.
But it's within a commercial zone. Yeah. So that states that in a court, if this was to go to court, that a judge would lean to the side of the residential area for the simple fact that the commissioners approved it as a residential subdivision.
Yeah, I agree with that. We may,
which creates a zone change, and
we may have some semantics going on here, but
so at this point, what do we follow? Do we follow the residential code on the subdivision? Do we follow a commercial code because that's what it fell under before it was approved? That's my ranch in this, is I can't figure out which way we need to go with this.
Well,
You know,
Okay.
it was after the last time they came in is when I really started hitting the books on it to see, because that didn't make sense to me.
Well, I think for tonight, because none of the other properties are before us with any kind of a question that creates a conflict, let's just deal with the one we have tonight, but look at it. If we go back and look at the approval, you know, whatever the conditions of approval were, that's what we would follow going forward. And, you know, more or less treat it like it was a zone change, as you've said, but that
At the time,
that's
right?
yeah, that's a little. So that part of it we can look at a little closer. I think for tonight, the way we're looking at it is, you've got either way, whether it's in the commercial zone or the residential, this new proposed lot, it qualifies for a short-term rental use there. And
But that brings into question if it is if it is considered a residential area, is nightly rentals a conforming use in a residential area? That's why I'm bringing this up.
yeah, isn't there the overlay in there?
The overlay does not tie into residential area, according to Mitch.
Well, I thought when we looked at it, it applies right here.
So from my understanding, Lloyd, is the 1,000-foot overlay was kind of the gray area so as an example,
But hold on, Corey, let me hold you up on that for just a second. It might be the example, but when it's a residential zone, it is not applicable. So the overlay is not applicable to a residential zone. So if we've created a residential zone because that's what the commissioners approved is a residential zone, the overnight overlay, chapter 10, which I do not agree with, but that's what stands in law right now, does not apply to a residential zone.
We were looking at.
Whether it's in that 1,000-foot commercial or that commercial zone, if this has been changed to a residential, the nightly rentals does not apply to it.
I guess this is
Because we've had 50 different interpretations of the overnight overlay, and I think the final one was it's allowed anywhere but residential zone.
Was this zone commercial before the subdivision was approved?
It was. So it was 1,000-foot commercial, which included the whole end of Rio Grande plus Merriam Court, was all within that 1,000-foot commercial. And then it did not change until the maps in 2011.
So let's get this question from Morgan.
Oh.
Residence, long-term rental, or neither rental?
For the subdivided lot.
What's your?
So, right now,
Maybe you don't know.
our plans change a lot. This is the problem.
Okay.
So right now, our plan in an ideal world would be to subdivide, sell our existing house, and then roll that money over and build us a house on the lot to live in.
I think the main thing here is, I don't want to take anybody's.
But I also I know if we did that, it would take away the overlay, probably, because that's not the use. I don't know.
I think we're just trying to be helpful to let you know
what I can do.
Are,
because if our house doesn't sell for what we want it to sell for, then we might have to sell the lot. That's kind of what we need to know is what our options are.
What Lloyd is bringing up here, would change some of the options.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry I threw a wrench in this.
He's got a good point.
I'm just trying to get it straight because for them to subdivide and put another house in there in a commercial zone, that's non-conforming for residential to live there. So you couldn't add a house in a commercial zone because you cannot create a non-conforming use on top of an existing zone.
When did the original subdivision come on versus the Spanish Valley ordinance?
I want to say that subdivision was put in the late 90s, early 2000s.
So then that's the answer. The Spanish Valley comes on top of that, and if they comply with the
But
current
but
ordinance,
did
they're
we
okay.
change the zoning on top of them?
Well, the Spanish Valley ordinance replaced what existed prior, right?
Okay, so when the commissioners decided to choose the maps that they did during the Spanish Valley ordinance,
2019.
that put everybody in non-compliance within that subdivision because that was not mapped out as a residential.
Yeah, I think so because the Spanish Valley ordinance said, okay, even though we've got this residential area here, really this is a commercial zone area, so we're going to zone it commercial. These all are grandfathered in, and if they comply with the new ordinance, then they're still okay.
Okay,
That's your answer
but
right
if
there.
they subdivide this, then they cannot build a residential home there.
That was something we talked about because in the commercial zone, the short-term rental is allowed, but that's not considered the same as a personal dwelling, right? Your personal
Right.
residence.
Yep.
And so,
Yep.
what you're saying is now that this has a commercial aspect to it, if they wanted to build their own residence, which is one option you had, then you're saying that wouldn't be allowed here.
That is a non-conforming use in commercial.
Yeah.
So we have just drugged these guys through the ringer since the day they
Through the
bought
mud.
this place.
Well,
For years.
we can tidy up the history of this and maybe get a little more detailed answer, but I think we did answer the question about the current zoning, the applicability of the current zoning, because it came on after this was whether
Gotcha.
Okay. So can you do it? I think yes. What use is allowed? Maybe we need to look at that a little further. So, but I guess no harm, no foul if it gets approved and then you decide what to do after that.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted you to be aware of where I think we are standing with this, and that's why I wanted Jens to be on this, is because as you move forward, I want you to know what the abilities to do one way or the other, and I really wanted you to be aware of it because of what you went through the last time when you purchased it and you came to us. So.
I'd apologize to my wife. Coy Cook, Miriam Court. So one thing I guess would propose or recommend, maybe not necessarily for us, I don't know how this, because of the kind of mess this is, but any residential neighborhood that's in this highway commercial zone, because we were told that even when we bought the property and we came to the last hearing, we were zoned highway commercial. So there's and everyone in our neighborhood, the owner, you're highway commercial, highway commercial, highway commercial. There's the new planning the zoning planning that's going to happen, and there's a lot of multi-use. Why couldn't we consider this a multi-use kind of area where there is the opportunity for nightly rentals, whatnot? It's in a highway commercial. It falls into that overlay for future and maybe for other neighborhoods that have this predicament where they fall into these highway commercial zones where we would ideally want these nightly rentals or commercial things to happen anyways, where we're next to a business park. All of our neighbors are next to, we're surrounded by commercial things. I would just recommend that we consider and look at those things and say, hey, what does multi-use look like? And can we avoid this headache of going back and forth and you can't do this or you can't do that, and just say, here's your options, because it's very confusing. And we went through the process of approving a nightly rental overlay, and we're trying to comply. We purposely bought the house so we could comply to the rules for a nightly rental overlay and have options, whereas other people in Moab have had nightly rentals in other residential neighborhoods and either have gotten approved or whatnot or not. And so it definitely feels like it's a huge loop. So anyways, that's just a comment and suggestion I would have. Whether that applies to us or not, I don't want it to make it any more complicated for us, but that's just an idea. I'm not sure if that solves the issue or not.
Well, and I actually, when Kristen was here and they were redoing the zoning, we chatted about this, and she said, I think that you would be great in multi-use, because I think that Rio Grande was maybe in multi-use on the new proposed map. and we butt right up to them. So she was like, I don't want you like an island out there, but you brought it up to multi-use, so why wouldn't we just put you in
And
multi-use?
there's an RV park in Rio Grande, right? Like there's these kind of all of us. There's always this kind of dilemma.
So then she was like, because we kind of chatted about this, and she's like, then you could build a residential house, or you could do a nightly rental, because that's what, according to the new zone, multi-use would allow. But we don't have that yet, so.
We don't have that.
Yeah.
Will we ever have it? We don't know.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, we would like to have the option to do either, just because we don't know. I mean, at this point, until our house sells, we don't know. But our house sale has been on hold because of this, so we don't know really which direction we're going to go until that happens. So, I mean, if we need a place to live and not be living with family for the rest of our lives, it would be nice to build a house for us there.
Well, and every neighbor that we have, if they go to sell their property, well, ours is unique because of the highway commercial or the highway access. They would have to make a turning lane. I wish the business park would have just extended it further because it's already a dangerous road. But I mean, I think it would help all of our neighbors to have options too, because anytime they go to sell their properties or do whatever, they're going to have the same question of what zoning it is and what they can do and what the next owners are going to be able to do, and whether they can build or not. So it's
Okay. Well, let us do the first step.
yes, yeah, that's okay.
I think we're good.
Good. Awesome.
Thank you.
I think this is an interesting situation based on Melissa's question earlier about the subdivision and like who is required to sign or not, because I do kind of find it silly that everybody on Rio Grande has to sign this for this, even though it doesn't really affect them other than their covenants or HOA or whatever they have.
So, I can't speak for Tanner, but I can speak for myself. Music to my ears, because we have a lot of subdivisions out there, 1970s, 1980s, that this chunk of land has a land barrier to this chunk of land, and it really should be two separate subdivisions in reality, but it's not.
Right.
And
Sound like they met the requirement though, right?
It sounds like they met the requirement, and I mean it's a benefit to them too that we just approved Stevens, because I mean the letter that we just read about the 1 acre lots, well, we just approved a 1/4 acre lot in the same subdivision technically. So
and that's what's ironic about this, because one thing from a staff standpoint, I can't speak for the fire official. You work in the fire department, but one item that we are going to have on any additional lot splits in this area is if we're not at the 30 houses, we're getting very close to the 30 houses.
right.
But there has been talk originally that there was supposed to be a bridge here, and I can't remember who told me about this. Stephen, I don't know if you guys know Stephen or not, but Stephen came in, one of his neighbors, I think it was this neighbor that's been there for like 22 years, came in and told me the whole history about how Mac Lane was supposed to do a bridge here.
We've heard that was supposed to be a bridge.
And they didn't do it because of this, but they're going to do it 5 years later. But you can see what 5 years later, it never could happen.
Well, you could get more lots without a bridge, and
Yeah.
easements and whatever else.
So it's definitely a conversation. I mean, the neat thing about where we've been, I say this cautiously because I want to take my hair out at times, is from a staff standpoint, we've had a lot of input on all 4 of these from both sides. And some of them have been very polarized, some of them have been very easygoing, and it's just interesting to see. The thing that was interesting about Coy Cook specifically is the surveyor they used was different than the surveyor Steve Thurlow used. They went and pulled the same plat, and we got 2 applications, just coincidental. We got 2 applications with 2 amendment 2 and amendment 2. So the first thing staff said was, well, time out. We can't do 2 amendments, so one of you has to go 3. But even better yet, how about we get Coy and Steve talking together? And once we got those 2 talking together, then the community kind of came together, and it's like, hey, this makes sense or this doesn't. But a lot of questions that I'm kind of hoping that we could take this meeting and start incorporating into our new code, because we're confused.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? I'd entertain a motion for a recommendation.
Or to go out of public hearing first. Which one do we do first?
We're out.
Yeah, we're
Oh, we're out. We already did that?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm behind, sorry. Too many words have been said since then.
I have Melissa and Shay on that one.
I move that we recommend the amendment, the subdivision of that lot. What number is it? Sorry, it's not in
12.
front of me. 12.
Turkey Trot
there.
Estates.
Turkey Trot Estates subdivision 12. I recommend we approve that amendment.
Second.
Okay. Shay made a motion. Lloyd made a second to make a recommendation to the San Juan County Commission to amend Turkey Trot Estates subdivision lot 12 at 26097. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we need a motion to go into a public hearing for Deer Haven. I'm not gonna say all those numbers, permit 26046.
Go, Shay.
I'll make the motion for a public hearing.
Second.
Okay, Shay made a motion, Lloyd made a second to go into a public hearing for Deer Haven permit 26046. Does the public know which one that is? Okay,
Gotta vote.
because there's, okay.
No, we didn't.
On what?
On the
Didn't you
motion.
just do a
to go
motion?
to the public.
You got a motion first and second, but I don't think they voted aye or nay.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, you did. Okay.
Yeah, because I got Shay as a making the motion.
To go in.
Oh wait, no, not yeah. You're
But-
right. You're
but
right.
I did- I
For the
didn't
public
vote.
hearing.
We just made the motion.
No, we voted.
For the public hearing.
Yeah.
Who was the person who? Shay.
And
I
Lloyd.
made a motion, Lloyd seconded, but I don't think we.
I
Did
didn't.
we?
I didn't
vote?
hear you say all in favor.
I don't think we voted.
We did vote.
So
All
that-
those in favor say aye.
Sorry.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye for a second time.
Oh, there you go.
So that's
TC
for,
agreed.
that's for
Sorry.
Turkey Trot number 12. That's for Turkey Trot, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
No, that's to go
That's
into
Deer
the
Haven.
public hearing for
Public
Deer
hearing for-
Haven 26046.
So we have who made the motion?
Shay, Lloyd.
Okay.
Let's
And
go back
it's
through and redo the whole thing.
voted upon twice.
Might have to take a recess here to
Man.
clear our heads.
I thought I was the forgetful one.
No, it's
I thought I was the old one. Okay. Any public hearing for Deer Haven permit 26046? Come up, state your name.
That's 3 minutes on this too, President or Chair.
So I think
Which
for
lot is this?
the
Which lot is this?
intent is to get information back from the public. So if you need to go longer, it's okay if you have questions. And if
Okay.
it's the applicant, then generally they maybe have more to explain or something. So it's,
Are you the applicant?
I am not.
Okay.
I'm a resident.
Okay.
Okay, I think
we have-
Melissa, you had a question, didn't you?
Yes, I want to make sure I'm looking at the right map as the people talk. So, which plat am I looking? Which map am I looking at?
So page 70.
Okay, so page 70, and so this is the 15B, right?
15B in the yellow area specifically.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Sorry.
It's okay. Okay. As I said before, my name is Jeff Clausen. I live in the Deer Haven Park subdivision. Thank you for addressing this topic, and I'm sorry that you have to consider these subdivision issues, as I'm sure we all thought once a subdivision was approved, matters like this would be handled by the homeowners association. In 2003, our dream, my wife and I, of a quiet rural lifestyle and one whereby my wife and I could retire in harmony, it began. Our property is located at the southern base of Mount Peel. It is a perfect dream location for us. Our property was chosen with properties surrounding us on all sides, of which 3 provide a buffer for us against the outside properties. Now we have properties wanting to vacate from the subdivision. Both properties are cornerstones to our subdivision. Our dream is being challenged now. These 2 properties in the Deer Haven subdivision have requested to be vacated. One property was purchased just a few years ago, and the other less than 6 months ago. The property owners of these parcels were well aware of the covenants when they purchased their property. Each of these owners have sent us letters informing us of their wish to vacate, but offer no good reason for doing so, or good cause. Good cause is the term used by the state. Specifically, in my conversation the other day with Richard Plen, an ombudsman for the state, good cause, as he states, should include the property owner stating what the reason is as to why the covenants prohibit them from doing what they want. I would like to highlight a few things. The 2 property owners have not requested to vacate through the subdivision HOA. We're here this evening because this request was not sent to the HOA first. Thank goodness for Corey by sending out this information, as we would possibly not been aware of the request to vacate. Our HOA does have provisions for changing our covenants. Our covenants read the following, and I quote, Article 2, replatting. The developers, now the HOA, and I'll get to that in a moment, of Deer Haven Park expressly reserves the right to replat its lots and any individual lot as may be necessary or desirable. These covenants and restrictions shall apply in full to any new or different lots created because of replatting by the developer. Again, that's HOA now. I'll get to that.
Continue.
Subdividing of lots by purchase owner is prohibited. Lot lines may be adjusted between property owners. No lots may be smaller than 4 acres if property lines are amended. All property owners must follow San Juan County guidelines for our area. End of that, Article 2. I'd like to point out that there's, in fact, an assertion that there is a developer in play here. That is categorically false. Article 5, and I quote, Property Owners Association, paragraph 1 states, upon the sale of 12 or more properties within Deer Haven Park, a Property Owners Association, an HOA, we call it a POA, it's the same thing, will be formed, consisting of the new owners. Every lot owner will thereafter automatically be a member of the HOA. Around 2005, 12 or more properties were in fact sold, thereby making the position or term developer no longer applicable because it has now been replaced with the HOA. As a HOA, we have been working hard to amend the covenants upon the changing attitudes and desires of the property owners, both old and new. At any time, a property owner has an open opportunity to request a change to the covenants. In fact, at our last meeting, changes were made to the size of square footage of homes and to what type of livestock could be added to that. In addition, goats and chickens were added. Should the approval to vacate be allowed, here are the following damages I believe will be realized. All properties are on shared wells. Not just a few, all. What happens to access of that water when the well is vacated on a vacated property, which is the case of these 2 requests? I'm baffled why anyone would buy into a subdivision. One of the covenants then one of the owners then complain about them to the extent that they want to vacate a property? There are at least 3 subdivisions and other land for sale within a 1-mile radius they could have purchased. All with the same views of the LaSalle Mountains, all with the beautiful views of Mount Peel. Currently, we have a perimeter fence. Fencing out is the law of San Juan County. If vacated, will the property owners who potentially could vacate, will they be responsible for replacing that fence, thereby the subdivision being fenced out completely? We have one road entering and one road leaving the subdivision. This road was made specifically for the subdivision, not for any other purpose. It's possible, if a property is vacated, an increase of traffic will occur. Heavy vehicles will begin to deteriorate our roads. Should a vacated property that is fenced out subdivision be required to have a separate ingress and egress? In our case, should the property next to us vacate, which they wish to, and if they're no longer required to abide by the covenants, possibly our home value will diminish. That's a big deal. Home value being lost. And I found out tonight that one of the property owners may be planning to put in an RV park if they are allowed to vacate. Would that or any other multifamily lot that was vacated be allowed to use water that previously was within the subdivision and was part of a shared well? That's already happening, by the way. People buy into subdivisions for certain reasons. The protections of CC&R's covenants provide residents with assuredness that certain rules will be applied. Everybody here in our subdivision agreed to those rules when they purchased the property, and the covenants were all readily available. A covenant is a promise. It appears that we have two property owners that do not believe in keeping their promise. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
I am the applicant.
Okay.
My name is Hilary Ananiadis. I'm the owner of 15B, and I also own an adjoining lot. So in my application, you can see on the screen that we have currently two properties. The blue property is ours, and the yellow property is also ours. The yellow property is within the subdivision. I have the pleasure of being the neighbor of Mr. Clausen, and I make no assumption that anyone would buy a property within a subdivision for a specific reason because the subdivision would afford you certain rights or protections or any of that. We actually bought this property to increase the size of our 20 acres that we have, which would be the blue section. So it's not about an HOA, it's not about any of those kinds of things. It really is about increasing our lot. We do have a shared well. We are bound by the laws of the state of Utah to abide by our deed and our right. We cannot change anyone's right, access, or easement to the well. We cannot change anything about how people come in or out of the subdivision. You guys know this subdivision since it was on the news this time last year, as you mentioned. So we are that very bottom corner lot in the U. So, the idea is that we want to be able to retire here, my husband and I. We want to be able to build a house. And much like everyone who likes to live in rural areas, we want to be away from people. That is why we bought 20 acres. We want to be away from everybody as much as possible. We like to be a part of the community, but everybody likes peace and quiet. We like to have privacy. We like to live and enjoy the view that the LaSalles can certainly afford us. And that is why we purchased another 5 acres. It actually provides us with a buffer. So we are, in fact, some of the best neighbors that you could have, because currently we don't even reside there full time. We come and we visit and we see our friends when we're here. We're here for, 3 weeks at a time. I work remotely, so sometimes I can pop in and, then I go back to our current permanent residence. So at some point within the next 10 years, we would like to build. But in the meantime, the Clausens have no neighbor and there is no intent to build. So you might ask why we would want to join the 5 acres to the 20. And we want to be able to put a larger section of our property into greenbelt. We cannot do it with the 5 as is. So we'd like to have the ability to have, which the minimum for greenbelt, as you know, is 6 acres. We'd like to have the ability to choose really where we would like to have some kind of, livestock. So I do know that the question, as I read through the packets that the administrator had, the question about the easement and water agreement, so on and so forth, we have a binding agreement based on the deed. It's the last 2 lines within the deed, and it does say all 3 properties share in the water equally based on their right, and that we all maintain the well equally based on their right. We cannot change that. So I understand that. However, if the commission would prefer that on the plat, we have an easement added to show that we understand that there should be, in fact, an easement for the shared well, because the well sits on our lots, that's okay. That's okay. I know that there's also Zone 1, which is a protection area of 100 foot radius that goes around the well column. And I'm happy to show that on the plat as well, because I know that everybody wants to make sure that our water is protected, and it's okay. And it's a commodity, it's a resource, and I don't want bad water either. So if that's the case, I can actually show the commission, if you'd like. I took the liberty of drawing this on the plat that has been previously drawn to show how we could in fact amend it or add to it. But it does show that I have added not only 15 feet on the north end, but 15 feet on the south end, which would give us 33, almost 34 feet from our property line. It also would extend from the well out and would give us, actually I measured it out, 3,591 square feet to be able to access the well in the event something happened. Also, I will note for the commission, if I may, we don't have any further well agreement with our neighbors beyond what is written in the original deed. We've tried. We could not come to an agreement. So if it is a recommendation of the commission that there be an alternative to what is written in the original water deed that each of us owns for our own respective lots, I would like to know what the recommendation is, because if we can get 2 out of the 3 lots to sign, great, but I don't want to record anything without the commission's recommendation. So I want to know what it is that would satisfy that, if that's something that you all are considering, which I did read in the administrator notes. So do you have any questions? Do you want to discuss this any further?
Commission? Anybody? Good questions?
This is Melissa. I have a question. Please pronounce your name again for me so I can get it right.
Sure. It's Hillary Ananiadis.
Ms. Ananiadis. I'm just curious why you didn't go to the homeowners association before purchasing the property and asking about, whether they would go along with something like that.
Before we purchased the property,
Before you purchased the 5-acre lot that you want, which lot did you have first?
we had the 20.
Okay, and then when you were thinking of purchasing the second lot, how come, if the reason was to establish a green belt, it seems to me this is something you might approach the homeowners association with, to talk to them about if you wanted to do something. So
Right.
I'm wondering why you didn't do that.
To be quite frank, it didn't even occur to me to approach them beforehand, to ask. I can tell you that we have, in fact, asked. I did send a letter with a petition in it and asked for signatures from the homeowners association, which is actually property owners association. I didn't get a response. They're a little slow to respond, to be honest. And I'm challenged in that I'm not here full time, so I can't just knock on folks' doors. The other thing is there's a lot of property here, and we have several lots within the subdivision, but there's not a lot of homes out here. It's a property owners association. There's a lot of property, and people do own property, but a lot of people are not local. So it's challenging to go and figure out, who you need to talk to, who you should be networking with. If the POA is not responding, how do I connect? So, to back up into to the answer of your question is, I just honestly, I didn't think to go to the POA before we purchased the property.
Thank you.
Okay, if I ask you a question.
Sure.
We haven't read the CC. I call them CCNRs.
They are.
The covenants, whatever you want to call them.
CCRs.
So
Yep.
I haven't read those,
Mhm.
but it is true that once when you approve a subdivision, it takes on certain conditions and so forth.
Sure.
And so the CCNRs are part of that,
Mhm.
and they are binding. The county isn't a party to those. We don't have standing to enforce, but
Mhm.
the owners within the subdivision do.
Yep.
Are you aware whether the CCNRs, do they have a process for vacating if you want to go
They
out?
do not.
Okay.
So this is the only process that we have within this subdivision actually to vacate, unfortunately.
Does it, do the CCNRs have any bearing on what you're doing here? I mean, I just haven't read them. I didn't.
They don't. We have
So
no
it's
intent.
silent on this part, on what you're trying to do. They're just silent, sounds like.
Yeah, I haven't received any official feedback from them.
No, I just mean, what did they say? Like, what I'm trying to say is, if the CCNRs say, if you want to do X, you have to follow this process,
Oh.
then that has to be done no matter whether they are slow or quick to respond, or, you know what I mean? I just don't know what they say.
In terms of use or
In terms of
building or vacating. Right. So there is nothing actually that's written within the CCRs. There
About
is,
vacating.
yeah, about vacating.
Do they have do you share common expenses, or?
No,
Okay.
they do not maintain the road. The county does.
Okay.
So, of which my neighbor spoke is the road in and out of. The county actually maintains the road. There are no shared services that the POA actually has.
Okay.
There is one walking trail that's maintained at the back end of the subdivision that I've not actually ever found, and it's not maintained by the POA. That's the only public kind of space. But
So, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but do you have a copy of those? I
do,
thought I
sir.
saw. That'd be great. They're not really part of the record here for tonight necessarily, but we're taking input, so.
Is that your only copy?
We can get you a copy.
Good.
yeah, I've provided the administrator with a copy of
Oh, you
those
have a copy.
actually.
Okay.
Hmm.
And the applicant is correct. There is no formal procedure for vacating. That's there. It's just what I quoted you when I was up.
We can't hear that.
Not vacating.
Melissa, just for the record,
Jeff Clausen said there's no formal mechanism in the CCNRs for vacation.
There is nothing.
No.
Well, here's what it says in Article 2, and it says the developers of Deer Haven Park expressly reserve the right to replat its lots and any individual lot as may be necessary or desirable. These covenants and restrictions shall apply in full to any new or different lots created because of replatting by the developer. Subdividing of lots by purchaser or owner is prohibited. Lot lines may be adjusted between property owners. No lots may be smaller than 4 acres if property lines are amended. All property owners must follow the San Juan County guidelines for our area. So the first part of that, since the developer's sold the lots and is out, wouldn't really apply. The second part about the buyers, it says that lot lines may be adjusted, has a minimum size, and then it says must follow the San Juan County guidelines for our area. So
Yeah,
I haven't read these that
there's not
critically.
Again, there's not really a mechanism to do that. And also, if I might point out, there have been 2 other properties that have previously vacated from this subdivision. So there has been past precedence that's been set, and both of those properties butt up against another property that's owned by either themselves, the same property owners, or it's family owned. So it would have been generational. So we are not any different in that regard. And since there has been some past precedent set, then, we certainly ask that you take that into consideration, as we do have an adjoining lot. So, and we're not trying to make it smaller. We're not trying to subdivide. We're trying to make it bigger. And we think it's great that it's going to look like the state of Utah when it's done.
May I ask a question? So if this were to go through, would you get rid of that property line in between your 20 and that 5?
Right.
So it would become 1. So you couldn't be like, we're out of the subdivision, but then sell it to somebody else and be like, you're free to do what you want with it.
No. And that's, so in my letter of intent, because I was doing my best, and you can see since I live far away, I have to send everybody certified letters. In my letter of intent, as I was trying to follow the process, I did state in there that this is part of the process that I have to go through because I'm trying to adjoin the lots. So this is just step 1 of the 2, right? So in order to be able to follow the process appropriately, then, we've got to get the commission's approval to be able to pull it out. And then I'll be down there smiling in Corey's office again saying, are we ready for step 2 to, draw the plat? So, don't look thrilled like that, Corey. But, I want to make sure that, the amendment for the subdivision is drawn appropriately, so, to your liking, because then it would then be absorbed, right? And then the other thing is, we've got 2 tax IDs. We'd love to have just one. It would be so great. So if we could get everything, the way we need it and everything's approved, then when we have it replatted for one contiguous piece, then, it's just going to transfer over and that line shall be erased. Thank you.
Commissioners?
I have another question. Can a subdivision be expanded by bringing the 5 acres into the subdivision?
The 20 into the 5.
20 acres into the 5.
Well, whatever. Bring the parcel that's outside into the subdivision. Is something like that possible?
Just have to go through the process. Yeah.
Same process.
Same process. Same process.
Same process being get
The property owners
signatures from everybody.
Yeah, the property owners would have to agree to bring more property in.
So subdivisions, sometimes when they're created, they're listed as expandable. that there's an intent to expand. Sometimes there's not an intent in the beginning, but later then they decide, oh, let's expand this. So I think what would be more likely in this case is if someone became the owner of this 20 acres and wanted to have it be part of the subdivision, it would probably just be its own subdivision approval phase 2. It probably would just be that. The other possibility is you could do the reverse of what's happening now, which is try to add the 20 acres on to the other lot. If you wanted to do that for the benefit of whatever you felt the subdivision offered, including like the CC&Rs. I think those would be the two most likely scenarios.
Thanks, gents.
Hey, I got a quick question. I think I had heard earlier that there was no shared costs among the HOA for road maintenance and whatnot, but I also heard there was a shared well. Can you guys explain how? I'm assuming there's more than one well in this subdivision. How do the maintenance costs and upkeep and everything on the existing wells within the HOA, how do they currently get funded?
So there's a shared well that is between properties. We have it's named well number 4. So 3 properties share one well. The well has been shared the entire time since it's been put in. There's not been any issue with its maintenance or its upkeep. As a matter of fact, my husband and I pay the electric bill without asking anybody else to pitch in. We just pay it, and we have since we purchased the property. As I mentioned, we're bound by the original agreement within the deeds for the water, which haven't had any problems thus far. I'm happy to maintain that if that's okay. We have tried to have a new well agreement that's got certainly much more meat on it. But unfortunately, all of the property owners were not able to agree on it. It wasn't something that was within our best interest, and we just have never been able to come to an agreement. So the well that is shared, it's not owned by the POA or maintained by the POA. It's maintained by 3 individual lot owners, and we continue to move on like we have since it's been put in for the last 22 years.
So just a comment on the water rights for the commission. Whatever we do here tonight does not change any legal rights to the well. I think that the applicant has said that part correctly. Planning and zoning in some of our recent meetings, we've talked about how if a new subdivision is proposed and it's not going to be, and they're going to be wells, that it might be a good idea to have some verification that there's a water right with each lot. And in some instances, some counties, some cities will require that a well be drilled before you can start construction, some stuff like that. So in this case, that ship has sailed. But we do have 3 intended residential parcels sharing a well. So if this were to come before us now, I think planning and zoning would recommend that there be a shared well agreement, or that each lot have its own well and its own water right. Again, that ship has sailed, but there is, if the lot is vacated, then it's not like the neighboring landowners don't have any water rights. That's true. On the other hand, if the commission feels like that it's okay for the commission to require that there be some resolution, because one of the purposes of this subdivision was to have residential dwellings, and that requires water. And it sounds like things are happening to a degree now that's okay, maybe not ideal, but it would be best if there were a written agreement that just had some basic terms, like each party has access to the well, and you can spell it out fairly specifically. Spell out what the percentage of ownership is, like the amount of water. And does the well have a certain amount of water, acre feet
It
associated
does,
with it?
and as I mentioned before,
Does the
two
deed
of
say what each party owns?
Mhm.
Okay, so that part's
And
taken care
so,
of.
and two of the three
Okay.
lots have agreed for a particular agreement.
Gotcha.
Within the agreement, it actually lists out all of the water right information, including.
So it covers all these details.
It covers all the details.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
I'd like to say
Mr.
something,
Kloss.
please. May I? Okay.
I guess.
I used to
You're the
drill
chair.
water wells. First thing I did when I moved out here, I went into nearly every well within our subdivision.
Maybe we should have you come to the mic so the commissioners can hear you. Sorry. I'm talking to you.
The applicant has
sit
made
here.
several correct statements. However, as you said, Jens, that the ship has sailed, but we're mainly concerned about if a property is vacated, then how, and if they build several dwellings, the water rights on a property is different than access to the water. Everybody in the state of Utah has water rights. It's how you get that water.
So is there just one water right with this well, but three people share?
There are,
Three water
yes, and I have extensively talked 3 or 4 times to the Utah State Water Rights, and most recently just the other day, to clarify this. And I'm glad to hear about the easement from both of the applicants said that won't change, that we won't lose our water. That's terrific. But there are a couple of misnomers. First of all, again, I've drilled water wells. It hasn't changed much since I was in my 19 years old. Okay, so with the water aside, my wife was the one who paid for the entire water well. So regardless of whose property it is on, she paid for it. We had asked the previous owners for documentation. I even said, would you please at least, I said to my wife, I wish they would at least lie to me and say we paid $10,000 for the well. Well, as you do the math, we could build a couple of wells right now for the price my wife paid for back 21 years ago. Now, when it comes to the water agreement, before the applicant and a new property owner came and purchased, and those other people just bought in January, we had Jens and a water rights attorney named Kevin Dwyer draft up painfully a detailed legal document about sharing the water that we have. The other property said we will sign it. This applicant that is requesting to vacate on our border refused to sign it. I have it in writing. It says, quote, I will not sign. I initially didn't want to have an attorney with all of this stuff, with this 12 pages, 14, 20 pages of legalese, water rights, but we had to. But the applicant refused to do it. She wanted a well agreement to the effect of these words, and I'm not quoting, can't we all just get along? Well, if it breaks, we're all good mechanics. Well, I'm nearly 67 years old with 3 metal boxes in my neck, and before anyone else came along, I was climbing down a 6-foot ladder into the well because we were paying for the well, and all components and maintenance on it, we were paying for the last 21 years. They refused to sign. The other new neighbors refused to sign. We're sitting with a legal document right now, and it's that we can't get anyone to sign it. It's legal. It's cross the T's and dotted the I's, but they refuse. We have it documented by the other owners too.
But what hasn't been addressed is the water goes with that 5 acres.
Yes.
There's no water on the 20 acres.
And currently the applicant next to me, borders us, is currently taking water from that property that they own and transferring it to the other 20 acres that they have. That's not their water right. Their water rights go with the property.
So we can.
You're incorrect. Several things.
We can maybe have there may be some further need to talk about there to review the well information, the water information, because here's the deal. If you have a water right, there's always a location of the well, and then there's a place of use of the well.
Yes.
So the state should have a record that shows the well has X amount of water, acre feet.
Yes, we have that.
And then the state should know where that water is used. So if you have, let's say you have a third interest in that well, the state should know that 1/3 of that acre feet go to your property, and it would be pertinent to your property.
Yes.
And then so on and so forth. So if one
Yes.
of the property owners said, hey, I've got my 1/3 acre, my 1/3 of this interest in this well, I want to transfer my 1/3 to a property nearby or something, that's okay as long as it doesn't affect the other water users. But we just haven't looked at the water right information yet. So
yes, and I've in depth looked at all of that, and I have every documentation for every well in the subdivision, the Deer Haven sub. I have that.
But yes, the CCNRs address the water usage having to stay with the lot.
Except
Okay.
that the CCNRs can't override the state, and the water right actually covers the 5 and the 20. It covers yours and the lot behind you.
The state Utah Water Commission told me this on the phone. People often confuse water rights with the ability to access the water. Everybody has water rights. Every piece of land in the subdivision has a water right. Now, how do you access that water? That is the issue. Okay, and are you using it? I can tell you this, that I checked in the proofing of lot 15B. Have they proofed their well? And nothing has been done in the last 10 years.
So my recommendation here is that to the commissioners is that we need to verify a few things about the water before.
Yeah,
But
and I
thank
hate
you.
to do this, but we can't have this debate going back and forth. She's the applicant.
Thank you.
I was going to ask you, Chair, do we want to see if there's any other public comment besides those two before we?
Are we still in public comment?
We're still in the middle of public comment.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So if we want to see if anybody else wants to pitch in before we just focus
Okay.
on the applicant.
All right. Any other public comment? Any further questions for the applicant?
Can that be from anyone?
No, that was for you.
Yeah, you want to make
Do you
a
have
public
your own
comment?
water rights?
Yes. We have our own water rights.
What are your water rights?
If you're wanting to ask questions, you come up here. State your name.
My name's Kathleen Herman, for the second request to vacate Deer Haven Park. And I think that everyone has their own water rights and point of diversion. And I think you have yours, we have ours, and there's not an issue with that because Utah controls water rights very well.
Yeah, there's not.
They tell you where, how much, how long you have to proof it. And
So you have a well on your property,
yes, sir.
and are you the only one that uses that?
Yes, sir.
Gotcha.
But it's not our personal well. It's just the other
Well,
lots around us.
So the well goes with the land, is what you're saying. So if you sold your property,
It would go with,
then
the deed.
whoever bought it would get the water with it, right? Is what you're saying.
yes, sir.
As in the case of this property as well. So there's not any difference.
So here's the thing: let's say I were to buy the Clausen's lot, what's the first thing that would jump out when they give us their information? We have a well with we have water. It comes from this neighboring landowner. Oh, do you just have a shared well agreement? No. Oh, why not?
Actually,
See what I'm saying?
Except the deed, because the deed actually outlines.
But the deed is different than how I actually get to use and access and make sure that I've really got, you know what I mean? I'm not disagreeing with you wholly. I'm just saying that there's more to it than that. And so a buyer might say, well, the last thing I want to do is have to fight with a neighbor over my water. I'm not saying that you would fight, but you see what I'm saying. So having the shared well agreement is an important factor for quite a few different reasons, but that would be one of them.
And I agree with you. And like we've stated, we've tried.
Gotcha.
So at the time, this has to serve as our agreement. Thank you, Kathleen. This has to serve as our agreement because we unfortunately aren't able to come up with anything that has more meat on it. And so we're fortunate enough to where a title company actually accepts the deed as, being appropriate, and those last two lines as being the agreement. And has been such the last two times that those properties have been sold. We purchased it, and our neighbors have purchased.
The closing with the title company, of course, is different than the issue of the water.
Well, I understand, but then we defer to the state and their, regulation as the state mandates.
So, Jen's question for you: if they couldn't come to an agreement with, amongst themselves, and they recorded an easement like she proposes, would that suffice? The question that you're like, access to the water is through the easement.
If would that satisfy you? If it's got the easement drawn on the plat so that it shows that.
So being the landowner where the well is located, if you were to record a document that more or less spells out the access from the neighboring parcels that use the well, that would be solid, it would be valid.
Okay.
And they would have they would have then certain rights based on that. That's true.
Okay.
But is that our purview?
So
that's the problem.
Yeah, that's one of the questions here, is how much do we want to get involved in all that?
There's a lot. Well, we're still in public comment.
Yeah. The reason it seems somewhat important here is the subdivision is a residential use, and residents have to have water.
Absolutely.
And the subdivision was approved without some of these details that would have been good to have in place at the time. Ideally, each one has their own well. They don't have to worry about this issue. But so
they share a well, the two other properties.
Oh, I thought
Everybody in the subdivision share a well.
Oh.
But there are no other properties sharing with us. No one has built around us.
Oh, but
we have provisions. We have designed a water sharing agreement.
I see.
Ready for them.
We're next up.
Gotcha.
So, Jens, if I may, I handed Corey like a packet of papers, and on that very top sheet is, what I propose, if our surveyor would do. So it shows easement all the way around, and it shows that zone 1 protection. So it's that radius. And so if we were to have that added to the plat, then that should help certainly define for everyone that, there's an understood an easement there. There is a shared well. And so
does it state it on that it's shared?
I haven't. It states it in the packet, which would be the well agreement itself. And so, but on the plat itself, I didn't add it, but we can ask the surveyor to clarify in the description.
I would certainly put lot whatever of Deer Haven.
Sure.
Is the shared owner.
Sure. If that would satisfy the commission, then I can certainly have that done.
There's some mud that we're trying to wade through that I don't believe has anything to do with us. Juan, is the CC&Rs being satisfied? That's really not up to us. And I was going to say, let's have Jens review it, but that's not on us. That's on the property owner.
True.
So I can't.
Again, we don't want to build anything on that 5 acres. They're actually getting a pretty good deal. They're going to maintain a view, and we're going to maintain a view. So it's a pretty sweet deal. you know.
So what is it though? I mean, we're just approving whether or not it's in the subdivision. Is that
To vacate.
Whether to vacate it out
Right.
of the subdivision.
Yeah.
I guess I have the same questions as you. Like, is it our place to say whether they vacate or whether they bring their 20 acres in? Is that any of our business, or is it just the lot lines and where they?
So we can't adjust to a 25 without vacating the 5. So the 5 has to be vacated first. Like, that's step 1. Whether you were to put the 20 with the 5 or the 5 with the 20, like, the 5 has to be its own island first before anything can be done with it, according to our administrator.
Yeah, so we're just following the statute, which says if you want to vacate, then the affected properties are required to make a petition to the county, the planning and zoning, and then you all take into consideration these factors here, and you decide yes or no.
Well, Jim's just
I
to
have a question. Oh. Well, I just want to know, can we get out of public comment so we can actually talk about this? Okay, I move we end, unless there's somebody else who's going to speak.
It's like Ms. Clausen would like to speak real.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll probably call you back up. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm Denise Clausen. I live at 25 Porcupine Lane and have had that property since 2003. And
Is that in this
yes,
subdivision?
right. So the other issues aside from the water, which sounds like it could be resolved, we have the perimeter fencing, which would have to be adjusted because if this property is exited, it's a corner lot, and so we have to fence out with the cattle, and so who's going to put that fence in? How will it run along the road? So there are common issues that were not addressed by the applicant. There are shared resources in the community. We do pay dues, and so 2 properties exiting out of the subdivision mean that the rest of us have to pay more dues to file our paperwork for the subdivision and other things, maintaining the perimeter fence, et cetera. So there are some other things that were not addressed that I just want to be sure you realize. Thank you.
You're asking about the back end of the 5 acres with the perimeter fence is?
I think what she's saying is the subdivision calls for a perimeter fence. No?
Well, no. It's just the fence out.
It's a fence out.
Yeah.
So the fence would stay where it is? Is that what you're saying?
Ranchers have to fence their livestock in their own property.
No.
Out.
No, thank you. They are incorrect. We talked to the previous attorney.
Any other public comment? Okay, I'll take a motion to.
Do you want me to just address the fence?
No.
No, okay.
I'll make a motion to move out of public comment.
I'll second it.
Okay, got a motion and a second to come out of public comment for Deer Haven permit 26046. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, commission.
Okay, I'll weigh in now that I'm looking at the map. I'm going with the good cause. I have not heard good cause to vacate. To only have to pay for one tax parcel, to have only one tax parcel number, or to call your 5 acres of greenbelt or whatnot. I just don't think it rises to the standard where there's an actual reason to vacate.
Okay. I will just make a comment to you.
You're going to make a comment?
Joining the property to go greenbelt is a great idea.
Well, yeah, I get that. But I don't see it as a reason to take it out of the subdivision. Especially when they've got 20 acres next to it. It just doesn't. It doesn't set with me.
Okay, I was corrected. 5 can be green belted.
If can or cannot.
Can.
So in order to be in Greenbelt, your property has to be in ag use. So if you have 5 contiguous acres of ag use, you can have it in Greenbelt. So I think the applicant is saying that their lot is a residential lot. And so therefore, if they try to have Greenbelt, the county's going to say, well, it's a residential lot, so you can't, it doesn't qualify. And I suppose that's accurate. I know that in other places in the state, you can carve out a half acre or whatever you want to do for your house, and then the rest is ag. So I don't know if the applicant had that conversation or not with the county, but for ag use. But I would think you'd be able to go in and say, look, our house is going to be on a half acre here. So therefore, 4.5 acres plus our 20, it's all ag. And then the house is taxed as a residence like normal, and the rest is taxed as ag. But, that's the way I've seen it work, but I don't know what's been done that way here.
I have a quick question. Is this, I think in one of our packets, we had a copy of an email from the Ombudsman's office. Was it in relation to this agenda item?
Yes.
Okay. And it kind of seemed to me that his main focus was around protecting easements and access to water, right? Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
All right. I gotta say, I just don't feel like 2 lines at the end of a deed are doing that, or meeting that threshold.
For the water easement or the...
So those things address ownership, sounds like pretty clearly, but maybe some of the details of how that works are the part that's not there. That's what you would normally have in the shared well agreement, and that's kind of been discussed here.
Yeah, correct. I think that's a piece I'm uncomfortable with right now.
So if we had it added to the plat, does that count? Not in lines, but in drawing?
Yeah, I mean, something definitely more substantial in my mind, if not a full agreement, at least included on a plat.
Yeah. So because you're not here, you weren't able to actually see what I handed up to the commission, but I did hand a piece of paper that has a drawing on it that has the elements of what would have to be included to show easement. So there is a boundary area and there's a zone 1 perimeter, and it shows that there's actually a more forgiving easement than what is actually required. So it's a pretty generous easement through there, but it does take up a pretty large section of the property. And to the earlier point, if I have zone 1 around the well column, I cannot have livestock around that zone 1. It has to be outside the perimeter, thereby shrinking the overall square footage that can be used for ag. And so it's really to our benefit if we can use all of our land that we've purchased, which would be why we would want to combine the lots. So we want to maintain the well appropriately, but it needs to be shown on the plat. I understand.
So does the generous easement you're talking about, I mean, does that include space to, who knows, bring in a workover rig or
Absolutely.
bring in equipment to pull a well,
yeah.
a well pump?
Yeah, no,
You know,
it's
all that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's pretty generous actually.
What does generous mean?
It's 33 feet off of our line, so you've got more than 15 feet on either direction to the north and the south. I've measured out 15 feet to the west, and then it gets all the way clearance to the road. It's over 3,000 feet to access that well.
Okay, so you're
But that
talking
wouldn't fall
from
in
the
the well protection area.
The well protection area, that's within the well protection area, and then the zone 1 actually radiates out from that.
It's 100-foot radius.
So it, with that
Kinda missing
consideration,
whatever
it shrinks the overall usage of that property in the front quadrant of it, the northeastern quadrants. But it does actually, it would, if we added, some more language and the lines that actually showed the delineation of the appropriate easement and the zone 1 protection, then that's a pretty good outline of, of usage and easement, I think.
I think I missed something that Jens was saying just a second ago. Could you repeat that, man?
He's forgetful tonight.
Yeah. I gave him a big packet to read.
Yeah, we were just looking at the drawing, and what it shows the location of the well, and then it has a 100-foot circumference, a circle, because you have to have some distance from impact on your well site. So it just shows that drawing, and then it shows the visual of the access. And so I think what the applicant is saying is, most accesses to a well don't essentially amount to a roadway, which, this is wide enough to be like a roadway. I think that's what you're trying to say.
That's
right?
what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
And right. So if this were incorporated into the property as an easement right to the other users, then that would resolve the access. Well, it would be a way to ensure access and so forth. Attached to the drawing is a pretty comprehensive agreement with additional terms and conditions, and that would have to be something that's signed by all the parties in order for that
Understood.
to be binding.
That's what we have.
That's what you're saying, right?
That's, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So anyway, does that answer, TC?
Yeah, I think that gets me closer. I mean, access I think is important, and the ombudsman's office is a resource to help us, understand these issues a little bit better. So that's one piece of it that I'm concerned with. The other piece I'm a little unclear of is usage of the well itself, right? Diverting that water onto the 20 acres. But I don't know if that's within the scope of this body or what we're supposed to be looking at, or if that's taken care of on its own. I don't know. But I'm still a little unclear about that, Trent.
It's already been diverted off of that property twice.
Trent, can I?
Yes, but the two other diversions, Trent, are staying within the subdivision, right?
Yeah, and again, past precedents for this subdivision with the other two properties that have in fact previously vacated also have a shared well with points of diversion that go to other lots that are still maintained within the subdivision. So it doesn't change anything. We're not building, it's going to be residential until it's for livestock. We're able to have a certain amount of livestock based on the right. So if we need more, then, and we're maxed out, then we drill another well. But until then, that's what we've got. So, but again, we're several years out from actually building a house. So, with the two lot owners currently within that subdivision, they're just using the water. We're going to plant some trees. We'll do some irrigation. That is within our right. We're able to do that. I'm trying to regenerate a weird BMX bike track out there, put some grass out there. So, I'm trying to take care of the land best I can. That's where we are.
Cody, did you have a comment?
Sorry, I hope it's not too noisy where I'm at, but I'll be quick. I just don't feel like this lot was ever meant to be vacated, and I don't know why I'd be held to past precedents that I feel like is bad. I'm just not, I have a hard time with the water right, and the subdivision, I assume, drilled the well, and that well was for the subdivision and these 3 lots. So, I mean, I guess without going too long, I just have a hard time with that. I'm sure you wouldn't want to vacate your right from the well, especially since it's on your property, but you want to vacate yourself from the subdivision. I just feel like the subdivision was never meant to be vacated, especially where the well is on your property. But that'd just be my quick comment.
Okay, thank you. Lloyd, you back in?
He says he's having trouble unmuting himself, but I'm sure he has a lot to say.
Maybe have him log out and log back in real quick.
Did you hear that, Lloyd? He says he can hear us. Let's see if you can log out and log back in.
I am. Are we on Google or Zoom?
He's on.
I'm just glad Google figured out Lloyd before finally.
I think Melissa wants to ask something.
Go ahead, Melissa.
So I pulled up the law, and the law says there are 2 parts to this. The first part is there is good cause. That in and of itself is one of the reasons. And then it says, and no public street or county utility easement has been vacated or amended. That's what the law is. And I go back to, I don't hear good cause.
I'm gonna just call him, put him to a mic.
And I can tell you that the citation, it's 1779, 712.
Can you hear me?
Go for it.
It's so stupid. This phone.
Can everybody hear him?
Yes.
Probably just hold it. I don't know.
Hey, Trent.
You're on.
Okay, so my thoughts on this is, okay, so water rights aside. So, I mean, water rights is between the Division of Water Rights and the people that are on it. Division of Water Rights allows six homes per shared well. An easement is required with the Division of Water Rights. A well account is required by the Division of Water Rights. Those are all things that are required by the Division of Water Rights. For us, we're looking at the land use on it. It has nothing to do with that water. I think we need to quit going back and forth on the water rights on this. That is solely on the Division of Water Rights. They don't care what property line it crosses. For me, if we're looking at moving into a green belt and for tax reasons, that's I mean substantial to me because I own enough land that makes a difference to me. And so for me on this issue, moving or vacating a subdivision, I'm wondering what, we have some HOA dues that is for maintenance on certain trails because the county already does the road. I mean, how large an impact is that to the other members in the subdivision? But at the same time, I'm looking at this as, I don't think it's that big a deal. For me, I would say yay to move it out, but in my opinion, I think this should be more of a judge to make this this movement out of the subdivision. But if the law reads that we have to make a decision or recommend the decision, I would say yay.
So to answer your question, the POA doesn't do anything with the money that I can figure other than pay legal fees to have CC&Rs amended. There's no, sometimes maybe they'll throw a barbecue, but they're not really doing anything because they're not maintaining anything. There's not anything that's shared within the subdivision. So the ultimate.
It has to be accounted for. You've created an entity. It has to be accounted for.
Oh, I agree with you.
Somebody to do it.
And I agree with you, and that would seem to be Pandora's box at this point. However, I will say that from what I understand, the CC&Rs are really primarily what that POA is for, is really just for building, I guess, and what you can, and whatever animals or whatever you can I don't, I mean, I've read through it. But it's not like there's, a community pool, or there's, a clubhouse, or it's not anything like that. There's not walking trails that they're maintaining, or, it's not that at all. So, and again, they're not maintaining roads or providing any utilities. So as far as the dues are concerned and taking on extra, I don't really see how that's all that impactful, but I don't. That's an opinion statement.
That's not true at all.
No. Okay. Commission? Anybody got anything else to say? Okay. Are we ready to bring this to a vote?
I motion to recommend the evacuation from the rest of the subdivision.
What did he say?
He said we're to evacuate our property.
He's got the fire on his mind, but I appreciate it. Thank you.
He said evacuate.
He said evacuate from the subdivision, but that's okay. His motion was to approve.
Yeah.
Okay. To make a recommendation to the county commission to vacate.
Vacate.
Yeah.
Sorry. We got some fires going on, so we gotta.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Anybody? Anybody make a second?
What was the motion?
To make a recommendation to the county commission to vacate this property from the Deer subdivision. I'm going to pass the chair to the vice chair.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll second it.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Say aye.
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 Aye. All opposed?
Nay.
So do we have 3 yeas and 1 nay?
No, I think it's 3 and 3.
3 and 3?
Melissa, what was your vote?
Nay.
Cody?
Nay.
It was what? And TC?
Yeah, mine was also a nay.
Okay.
So 3 and 3.
Where's Ann when you need her?
Okay, I'll take the chair back. So motion is denied, fails for approval at this point in time. You can reapply.
Are you sure? Positive. Are you positive? I can see all of you thinking about it. Really thinking.
It's really
Oh.
hard. It's hard for me
It's hard.
because,
Yeah.
like, I would do what you're trying to do,
Mm-hmm.
but I also agree. Like, I haven't seen. It'd be nice to have a little more involvement in the community for sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Moving on.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. I kind of like being able to mute Lloyd anytime I want to.
I noticed that.
Okay, number 5. 6. I'll entertain a motion to go into a public hearing for Deer Haven permit 26095.
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
Second.
And okay, Shay made a motion. Lloyd made a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Trent, I have a question about this one.
No.
Other way around. I think Melissa had a question.
Yeah, but before we do, because it's really helpful to look at the picture. This one, I can't find a picture that shows, I can find their property, but I can't find a picture of what they're doing with their property. And that's helpful for me to look at.
Let's see. Melissa, would it help to give you? So it's this property. Could you see this on the screen?
No, I can't. We don't see the screen. That's why we can't see the screen.
Okay.
So
if you
so
go to
I was,
page-
and I've got so many pages open right now, and I can't find diddly squat. Oh, okay, I've got the packet. So if I go into the packet and I look at toward the bottom of the packet, there's another one of the map.
Yep.
But it doesn't show what they're doing with their property.
So from
It don't matter what they're doing.
They just want out of the subdivision. They're just vacating.
They just want out. They're not vacating to to combine it with another piece of property.
Correct. Well, I'm not. I don't know if they own adjoining property or not, but from my understanding, they do not.
Oh. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
And that's on page 111 on the top left corner.
Yeah, I've got it. I had to turn it sideways, but I've got it.
Okay.
But they just want out of the subdivision.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
That's context.
We're in a public hearing. Any public?
I'll keep this brief. You know who I am, Jeff Clausen. And I've known the Hermans for several years now. And I just at a loss, other than maybe a personal issue, but don't want to go there that they may have with somebody. But I don't see good cause. And again, I revert back to what Richard Plen said to me on the phone and my wife just the other day. You must show good cause. And we asked what good cause was. Well, that has to be defined by somebody other than us. I just don't see it that you just want to, as the letter we received just the other day from the Hermans, we want to go back to nature. We want to go back to agriculture. Well, I tell you what, if I found a way to keep the deer, the jackrabbits, and the rabbits out of my garden, and squirrels and chipmunks, that would be a blessing, because there's no fence that will hold these critters in, and I think everyone in this room knows it. So going back to ag, we are all zoned ag. A fence isn't going to stop it. Vacating is not going to stop any wildlife or what have you. Thank you.
What about prairie dogs?
That's a 4-letter word, sir. Don't talk about that. That's to our south.
Okay.
We don't want that. Thank you.
There's plenty of them out there. Okay. Any other public comment? Do you guys want to present?
Yeah.
I'd like to, well, we're the people that put in the request. So, we do have prairie dogs coming, Jeff. We have some in our backyard. We wanted our land to be green too. We are agricultural, and we're just asking for the same consideration from the commission that was given to Lot 20 in 2020 when they vacated. Lot 14 just vacated last year, 2025, which is right below us. One of their rationale was they were worried that the CCNRs were going to not let them have horses, which is a crime. So we want to maintain agriculture on our land. The subdivision absolutely has no shared infrastructure or any common property. We do have a trail that's on our easement that was put in by the subdivision, the developer, but no one has ever maintained it. And 99% of our property burned last year in the fire, and fortunately our house is still there. We do have a well sharing agreement that we're negotiating with our neighbors that does have the easement, and we've already gone through all the water rights and all that. I think we all agree how that works. There's not a lot more to say. We pretty much discussed a lot about this subdivision in the last discussion. Kathleen, do you have anything you want to add? And we have no issues other than we just want to maintain our property. We want to keep it to nature. We just want to live there in peace. And it is interesting to know that out of the 21 lots that are in that subdivision, there are only 6 full-time residents, and 2 of the 3 of the board members live in cities in other states. So I'm not sure they're really understanding on our board what green is and what agricultural land is. That's all I have to say. Kathleen? Thank you.
Okay.
We appreciate it.
Any other public comment?
Denise Clausen again. I just want to say that why did they buy the lot if they want to use it in a way that wasn't allowed in the subdivision? So to buy in and sign on to the covenants and promises of the community and then decide it's not convenient and you just want to vacate, to me, is not good cause. Thank you.
Okay. I have a proper comment. When we bought the property, the CCNRs were developed in, I think, 2001. We were told when we bought our property that the board at that time had voted on changes to that. We bought our property based on those changes. That never came to fruition. We are still operating under those old CCNRs. It is true.
No, I have the brand new copy here that was voted in November of last year.
But it's never been filed. It's not approved. It's never been filed with the county.
We can't go back.
Not a debate.
Understand. Appreciate it.
Any other public comment? John?
From these guys later.
Allie?
Nope.
Chair, could I just add one note? I have an email that came in, and my apology for not getting it to you on the prior one. Like we've had consents and not consents coming in, but we had an email come in at 6:05 this evening that is speaking on these. A gentleman who owns 2 properties.
Corey, can you speak up? I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. I had to steal the microphone from Jen's. I kind of like Jen's having the microphone.
Way too much here.
So we had one more come in that just did not get included in the packet, and I'm just going to read it. We believe that when you buy a property in our HOA, you buy in understanding that you are part of that HOA and the rules it sets forth. Having the HOA sets a precedence for others to do so and is not fair to those who already own property within the HOA. with the understanding that there are rules to be abide by to keep the HOA to certain standards. This is signed by Catherine and Mary George on today's date. And that email was received at 6:05 this evening. That's all. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Corey. I'll entertain a motion to go out of public hearing.
Motion.
Second.
Okay. Lloyd made a motion. Shay made a second to come out of the public hearing for Deer Haven Park subdivision amendment. Okay. Commission. I'll just state this.
Hey, did we
Melissa.
vote to come out of public comment?
Oh, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I did
Aye.
not remind you.
I know.
Aye.
Thought I missed it.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, TC. I'll let you guys talk first, and then I'll weigh in. Anyone?
So, yes, of course I agree. Now, I don't think we should be receiving emails that was posted after the start time of our commission meeting. That's my opinion. I think there was give due time without adding more comments that was placed after the time that our commission meeting was supposed to start. But on another note, again, we're looking at a governing party that changes hands, and somebody made the comment that only 6 or 7 of the people that are part of the 21 parcel subdivision are actual living members of that, and we've got a board that's ever changing, that's changing rules and regulations within a subdivision with the CC&Rs and the HOAs. I can understand the fact of, okay, so we've got a change of government, we've got a change of things going on we don't agree with, and that is not what we signed up for when we purchased the land. And so on that part, I will be behind the people that are wanting to be out of this, because this does happen. You do get a change of government in your HOAs and your CC&Rs. I've been part of it, and I know how things change, and they've changed things out from under what your original due diligence was when you purchased the land. So for that, I stand with the ones trying to vacate the subdivision.
Melissa?
Well, I have a question. How did that other property vacate without coming before us? The one that happened last year that they referenced, lot 14.
Different administration.
Well, so again, I don't hear good cause. Having been a member of a HOA, not a POA, but an HOA, if you don't like how things run, you can be a leader in the group and change things. I don't think just sort of disagreeing with the direction of the subdivision is going on any given year is a substantial enough reason to vacate. And I just have a question, and it's related to this. Mr. Herman has a building permit, and I'm wondering what that building permit is for.
You could answer that.
Yeah, our home was completed last year.
You might need to go to the microphone for her.
Our home was completed last year. So we live in our home on the land, and the home takes up probably acre and a half to maybe 2 acres. So the other almost 8 acres, we want to be green.
Well, so, but you're on the new building permit report from June.
Let me clarify that. So we're actually we're tracking everything in planning now, and we're actually putting it in a file so that our future predecessors could find this information. So that building permit is a planning permit for the vacation. However, Mr. Herman does have 2 houses on this property, correct?
Yes, we have a home and a guest home. And what you're referencing, I believe, was our conditional use permit to live in our trailer while we were completing our home. And our home was completed last April of last year.
I guess I'm confused. It shows a permit was.
Let me clarify. The permit that you're seeing on the building permit report
Yeah.
was a way for the county. So statistically, the county's never had a workflow process. It just been in a folder. The phone calls have came in, the emails have came in. Hence one reason we're trying to get ahead of the game on this one. So because we've never had a permit number assigned to these, this one's actually assigned a building permit number, but it is a planning file. That is something that we're currently addressing right now with software changes, where we're actually going to bring on a planning module eventually.
So help. I'm still a little lost, Corey.
It's this application.
It's this application.
This is an application to do what?
For a vacation. So it's not a building permit.
So you have to apply to vacate. This would, I mean, you have to. Okay,
Yes.
finish the
Yes.
permit. Okay.
Yes.
I got it now.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah, we're just starting to track everything. And part of tracking is if somebody was to come in and audit it in a year, did the fees get paid? Did a denial letter get sent out and an approval letter get sent out? One reason that we're in the meeting that we're in tonight is just because we have no primary database of a lot of the stuff that's happened in the past, and we're just playing cleanup mode right now.
So we could like under permit type put vacation.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I got it.
Absolutely. Okay. And it's a work in progress. It's just a software. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
TC.
Yeah, I got to tell you, especially for these last 2, I just feel like the HOA should have a better process to run down through these property vacations. And these folks should run through that process before it comes before this body, quite honestly. And since we have at least a handful of those folks in the room, I'd encourage you guys to get together with your neighbors and really sturdy those procedures up in your HOA, CCRs, or whatever you want to call it. I think I'm leaning with Melissa again on this one. I just don't. I'm failing to see a good, solid reason to vacate this one out of the HOA.
Cody?
Is it my turn? Yeah, I don't know what's the matter with me. I don't know if it's because I'm in California on vacation, but I'm having to agree with Melissa tonight. I just feel, I don't disagree with Lloyd, but I feel like we aren't necessarily the place to bring that to, just like we don't have anything to do with CC&Rs. So I'd have to be consistent and probably not be in favor at this point and let it maybe run a course of talking to the neighbors and seeing if it can't be agreed upon in a different way.
Speaking of vacations, while you're on vacation, Shay.
You know,
it's tough, but I would have to agree with what I would just echo what was just said by Cody and TC.
Okay. Melissa, I kind of felt on the previous application that the attachment to the other land, that made me feel cause. But this one, I just, because you want out and you don't have any attached property, I don't feel cause on this. So I'll entertain a motion.
You're on mute, Melissa.
Yeah, okay. Let me get, what's the page number, Cody? Because I was looking at the building permits.
You want the motions?
Yeah, I want the motions. I move
Page
that we do
100.
not recommend.
Do we need to make a motion if we're not, I mean, we don't need to make a motion not to recommend, we just don't recommend.
Deny it.
Just to deny it.
You gotta go one way or the other.
Okay, so I just move that we deny this request for a vacation for the Herman lot in Deer Haven Park subdivision.
I'll second that.
TC can have it.
Okay.
TC.
So Melissa made the motion, TC the second. All those in favor say aye.
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 And nays.
Nay.
Okay.
Reason. Just for the record.
My reason?
Yeah.
I think I gave my reason when I said my comments.
Yeah. You'll have to just.
You're going to make me listen to that, Lloyd.
Yes, 100% of what you might listen to it.
Okay. You know, when Corey put times on these agenda items, we were out of here in 2 hours.
I know, my
And
apology.
and we literally have 2 other things on the agenda that are canceled.
Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Hey, Chair.
Yeah.
Well, let me make recommendation that while we're redoing our bylaws, we write in there that whatever time Corey puts on the agenda, we have to live by. How's that?
I like that. It might be 5 minutes though,
Yeah.
just FYI.
That's
Yeah.
fine. Stop everything and make a motion at that point.
Good man.
No, and my apology, Commission, is this packet. Tamara and I probably spent over 180 hours on it. Just the input. I mean, and again, getting stuff at 6:05. I agree with Lloyd on that. It's just that the reason that came in at 6:05 is he got it today. That was the U.S. mail system. It wasn't necessarily his fault, and he sent it immediately. But this was just one of those. It's been very dynamic. I mean, we have two sides on this one that have good cause on, or not have good points on both sides. But at the same time, staff and our county resources, road departments, fire departments, we do a lot to create subdivisions, to create building lots, to do that stuff. And we're just looking for direction in the future of what to do. So I appreciate the conversation as long as it was.
I'd say if you present a subdivision, it's going to stay. This vacation and amendments and.
It would make it a lot easier on staff.
Yeah.
And it would make it a lot easier on public. I mean, I've served in a lot of different jurisdictions, and this is the first place that I've been that we have Amendment 9, Amendment 10, Amendment 11. So, yeah, no, a conversation to have with a new code.
Cool. Well, thanks, Corey. And thanks, Tamara, for the time.
Yeah. Yeah, looking at all these certified letter, that was a lot.
A lot of work.
Building permit list. What's Dan Perry doing?
Can I just note that the town fell off? What is it? The city or town info fell off, and so I can't figure out where these places are.
Oh, right. Nope, I can see that. So these are the inspections. Daniel Perry, the chair asked on Daniel Perry. We're struggling with software right now. We had a really good packet out last month with the correct things, and we were a little bit overwhelmed this month. So what we could do is we could rerun this report with the addresses and send it out. But these are the inspections that are currently happening. Daniel Perry's log home out in Elk Meadows. He's about 80% done, looking for some sort of temporary occupancy. CO. Matthew Marshall completed. Look RVs in the conditional approval status right now, where they're trying to use it. I'm not sure what these two are, but Melissa, we can get you a new report for sure.
Thanks, Corey. I just hate to add, and given everything we have to do.
Well, and I appreciate it. Like any feedback.
And when I say we, I mean you have to do.
No, it's Tamara. In any feedback that we could get from the public or the commissioners is helpful. The thing is right now, just as an example, the software that we currently have that we're looking at some options. The software that we currently have, I have to go to Google Drive to look at plans because we can't even upload it in the system. So it's an inspection that should be, or an inspection or plan review that should be an hour, 2 hours is taking sometimes 4 or 5 hours because we have to remember where we stored it and that type of stuff. But yeah, if you could just keep reminding us when you see something, but we'll get more of a standard form coming to the commission.
Hey, I want to, before we quit, I just really want to thank Corey and Tamara for the work they did on these public hearings tonight. That was a lot of work. Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Was that Cody?
Yeah. You know it was Cody.
Cody, thank you, Cody.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Who do we have for a second on that?
Shake.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
See you,
Melissa.
and next month we start our 2 meetings a month, right?
Starting in August. Yep.
Starting in August. Okay.
Yep. Starting in August.
Thanks, buddy.
Okay. See y'all later. Bye-bye.
See you guys.